Hello everybody, it's Louise. Hope you are doing well. It's a really nice sunny day in London, so I'm just sitting in my garden. I thought I would read another chapter from the book The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard about assumption and just go through whatever comes up for me at that time. A bit windy as well. It's nice, so let's see, is that good? You see a bit of greenery. Got a new fence, which is really nice. And there's a little daffodil. Can I do it? Little daffodil over there. Can you see that? Sign of spring. So this is from chapter 15, The Crown of the Mysteries. The assumption of the wish fulfilled is the ship that carries you over the unknown seas to the fulfillment of your dream. Really beautiful sentence to start with. I like the idea of the ship. You're just assuming that you have already achieved your dream. It's happened. And just from that feeling, that faith in that, you are carried. There's that feeling of it being effortless because the assumption carries you over, and just trusting that that's how it's going to be. You have to assume it's done, and that's going to bring forth action as well. But it won't be action that you think of as work. It'll be joy, joy in the feeling that it's already been achieved. In a way, you're just going through the motions. You're being propelled forward by the assumption. And so it's almost like play because you're so sure that it's already done. That's my feeling on it anyway. Over the unknown seas. I like that because we don't know how it's going to be achieved. We go to the end. We go to the imaginary act that implies that our dream is fulfilled. We don't think about how it's going to be done. We're already there and living from that feeling. So we've got to remember it is unknown seas we're going to be sailing through, and not to lose faith if things are not as they appear to be, not to trust completely in objective reality, because we don't know the way that God is going to make our dreams happen. And it might look like everything's going wrong, and you don't want this to happen. You reject objective reality. I like that. But try and keep an open mind, even in the midst of strong emotions, because we don't know how. We just don't know what the means are. And if you are imagining and living in that feeling of happiness that's already done, then just keep trusting in the fact that it will be done. It's a fact, remember? And yeah, it's just that objective reality can really fool us sometimes. Because we're so used to trusting in what we see in front of us, and it feels like it's going to have the last word, but it's not. It's almost as though it's been made like this. God's made it like this to test our faith, because it's by faith that we are able to manifest whatever we want. And so, that's an interesting idea, isn't it? Maybe as we get stronger in our faith, we have more and more testing, trials, and it's to strengthen us, strengthen our imagining, maybe. I don't know why it has to be strengthened, because say if you are believing and you're having success, but then something apparently really awful comes along and you've still got to trust. It's like suffering, isn't it? maybe that's why, because we have the suffering and we need to overcome it by trusting and having faith. And in the suffering there's love as well. So it brings us closer to God, to the source that lives within all of us. I don't know, but whatever the reason is, sometimes it's going to be really hard for us to trust. And we're going to think, I don't want this. I don't like what's happening now. Why is this happening to me? And maybe we are going to forget what we're assuming because we get lost in what's going on around us. And that's why we need to study and practice and contemplate the teachings when we're in a good place. Because when the emotional storms hit and all the turbulence comes and we're in the eye of the storm, I suppose, that's when we really need to hold firm to the anchor of the teachings. Because, you know, since we've been a baby, that's all we've known, objective reality. And it's hard to break that feeling that you think that's all there is. But there's not. It's not all there is. So, yeah, I got distracted there because I thought I heard the neighbour coming out, and I just want to speak about this in private. But yeah, I shouldn't be self-conscious. That's something I need to work on. Just say it. Doesn't matter. So, when the trials come, that's what I was saying, we have to trust even more and just think this is happening for a reason, and this is what's going to take me to where I need to go. So we practice the faith and we study the teachings beforehand. And that's it, basically. So the ship carries you over the unknown seas to the fulfillment of your dream. Nice ending, I like that. The assumption is everything. Realization is subconscious and effortless. Beautiful. So I think I'll move over here actually, because maybe there's less sun here. Try here. Okay, and it's more private. Right. So the assumption is everything. Realization is subconscious and effortless. So the mental is really what takes us there. The physical, the action element, is going to happen if you get the mental right. I think we could all do with writing that down on a piece of paper, sticking it up on the wall somewhere we're going to see every day. The assumption is everything. And if Neville Goddard says that, I believe it. Because I've had no reason to doubt any of his teachings. And when I've contemplated what he said, it's just felt, yeah, something inside me says yeah. So we need to assume and we need to trust in the assumption. That's the main thing we can do for ourselves. Assume a virtue if you have it not. That's good too, isn't it? If you if you want to change something about yourself, become something, instead of working so hard on that, just assume you are it, imagine it, and that's how you're going to get it. Act on the assumption that you already possess that which you sought. Act on the assumption that you already possess that which you sought. So we're coming from that feeling that we're already a success in whatever we're imagining for. And that's going to affect how we are in everyday life, because all of our action comes from that. And that should happen naturally if we are assuming. I'm still getting the sun in my eyes, so how can I walk? See here. Okay, better. Blessed is she that believed, for there shall be a performance of those things which were told her from the Lord. As the Immaculate Conception is the foundation of the Christian mysteries, so the Assumption is their crown. The Assumption of the Virgin Mary is, for those who don't know, is a belief in the Catholic Church and the Greek Orthodox Church, and I don't know if there's any other churches that believe it, but it was passed down by the oral teachings that the Virgin Mary, when she died, she was assumed into heaven, body and soul. And so that gives me the feeling of assumption, the assumption of the Virgin Mary as being lifted up and carried. And that's, if you think about psychologically what an assumption is, it does give me the feeling of being lifted up and carried to, and she was carried to heaven according to this, and heaven is within us, and God is consciousness, and that's who we manifest through, so it carries us there. It's I think that's really all it brings up for me, the idea of being carried, literally carried to your goal by God. What does it say in the book? Let's see. Psychologically, the Immaculate Conception means the birth of an idea in your own consciousness, unaided by another. For instance, when you have a specific wish or hunger or longing, it is an Immaculate Conception in the sense that no physical person or thing plants it in your mind. It is self-conceived. Wonderful. Every man is the Mary of the Immaculate Conception, and birth to his idea must give. The Assumption is the crown of the mysteries, because it is the highest use of consciousness. When in imagination you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are mentally lifted to a higher level. When through your persistence this assumption becomes actual fact, you automatically find yourself on a higher level, that is, you have achieved your desire in your objective world. Your assumption guides all your conscious and subconscious movements towards its suggested end, so inevitably that it actually dictates the events. So there's quite a lot there, isn't there? And there is actually a physical feeling of when you're assuming, of just that feeling of being lifted, you're mentally lifted. It's a good feeling. And, you know, why don't we do it more often? Lift ourselves up to a higher level. It's like we're meant to do this. And persistence is key. We have to keep going with it. But this is interesting, isn't it? This is what strikes me. When through your persistence this assumption becomes actual fact, you automatically find yourself on a higher level in your objective world. So it's not just all, it's happening in the mental and then it appears and it's just another incident in your objective world, but it's more or less the same. It's just you've achieved some manifestation. You're on a higher level. I guess because you're gaining more control over consciously manifesting and you're feeling that. I think there's more to it than that, but you only know when you're actually in it. Maybe some kind of connection, stronger connection with the source through what you're doing. And let's see, your assumption guides all your conscious and subconscious movements towards its suggested end, so inevitably that it actually dictates the events. The assumption dictates the events. So make it a really good assumption and you'll get good events, maybe. Yeah, and I do feel consciously, it's conscious and subconscious, when I'm saying, I've written down my main aim, I'm saying it and I'm imagining having achieved it. Every day, even though I can be lazy and I can refuse to do anything, I feel this urge that I must perform some action towards it. So I think it does help saying it, as long as there's that strong feeling and imaginary act behind it. The drama of life is a psychological one, and the whole of it is written and produced by your assumptions. So everything you've achieved in your life has been through your assumptions. Learn the art of assumption, for only in this way can you create your own happiness. Beautiful. Learn the art of assumption. The art, and it is an art, and that is probably the most important art we can learn in our lives, to assume. So we need to get to the core of the teachings. When I was studying Buddhism and really practicing it as often as I could and trying to really integrate everything, I found that in the beginning, when it was new to me, I was just really trying to absorb all the details, all the information I could, just to get that overview. But then over time, as things became more normal and part of my everyday life, I was looking for the essence and just cut through all that and go to the essence, the core, which I found for myself to be love. And that's what I find to be the core of the Christian teachings, if somebody is genuinely following it. So there's that link. And I think that's probably the core of all good belief systems and religions. Parakeets in the garden. But yeah, what is the point of me saying that? I've totally forgotten, because I was talking about the art of assumption. Oh, I always do this. The art of assumption. Oh yeah, so I was talking about cutting through to the essence, and I think, dare I suggest, that the art of assumption is the key idea, the essence of Neville Goddard's teachings. So we should study him, we should study what he said, and read his books and contemplate it, and decide for ourselves if that feels true within us, not just like rationally. And some people might think, how can you think that's rational? Well, it does sound very rational to me as well. Rationally spiritual, maybe. But it's got to go through to your soul, I think. And your soul has to say, yeah, I feel this. And then, you know, it's kind of like pretty much all your questions are answered, because he spoke such a lot about all subjects and wrote a lot. It's all out there. And then you want to simplify it because you've got it, all the information. You can you can draw on it when you need it, but you want to really simplify it so that you can carry that essence around in everyday life, because we're all human, we forget, we need something very clear and very well, just easy to draw on, very in the moment. And it's the art of assumption, I think, the art of assumption. Learn the art of assumption. So I think that's what I'm going to study. I've just decided that. I'm going to listen to all his teachings on assumptions, and I'm going to read everything I can find from him on that, and write down the main points and make a clip on it, so that we've got the detail on assumption, and then we can just call it up by thinking, just assume maybe one word. Assume the best and forget the rest. I mean, that's the truth as well. Ah, sunshine, I love you, but you are in my eyes. So what do you think about that? That'd be a good idea. It's a good idea for me. Is it for you? And how to remind ourselves every day to assume until it becomes habit and we don't even think about it anymore. What do you think about that? I think it's the only way forward. So self-discipline is another very strong aspect of that. So I'm going to try and learn more about self-discipline and the art of assumption and incorporate it into my everyday life. Plane going overhead. I live near Heathrow, so you do hear them sometimes. All the time, but sometimes during coronavirus. So here we go. Here's my garden. Just show you, as I've shown you before. There's the back part. And it's very loud down here. Stone now. And it's so nice around here. I've got this nice tree there, so neat and tidy. Why am I showing you all this? Well, I'll tell you why. You see this gate here? Oh, I don't know which way to do it. Okay, here. Here's the gate. Beautiful door. Really good wood. Okay, it's this side. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, there is a point in all this. So, my main problem is with selfie mode. I don't know where I'm aiming. But look, yeah. So I've got this new gate at the back. The tree's looking good. Everything's quite tidy. Really good. Now, not so long ago, this garden was an utter mess. It was my fault, obviously, because there was a really low fence there, and my neighbour is always out in the garden. He's probably out now, and I just wanted privacy, and so I wouldn't go in there because I didn't want to see him all the time, especially as he works with his t-shirt off. It's not pretty. Anyway, I neglected the garden, lots of weeds, lots of mess, lots of thorns, and I was thinking, God, if only it was really nice and I had some privacy, I had a nice high fence, and I didn't have so much to do. And it is exactly like that now. And you might say, well, it's because you paid somebody to do it. Yes, you're right. But I imagined it first. And I looked for a few people for a while, and it was expensive, and yeah, really expensive. And I wasn't sure about what they were going to do. And then this man up the road who I know, he's a neighbour, he did used to own the pub, and he is brilliant at DIY stuff, and he said, I'll do it for you. And he didn't really do it any cheaper, but he's done a brilliant job. And then I thought, oh, I wanted it like that. And he's kind of come up with ideas of how to change it, and it was exactly as I wanted it. So I'm really pleased about that. So as I say, obviously I had to pay him and organise it, but it started with the imaginal act, and now it's good, and that's going to really improve my relationship with my neighbour, and also I'm able to enjoy outside without feeling constantly exposed. So there you go. Thank you so much for listening. If you got this far, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I am so pleased that I've reached 1,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. I really appreciate that so much. I just hope they start listening to my video clips. But I'm really grateful for the people who do regularly, and you know, even if you do once in a while, that's fine. I appreciate the comments and any discussion we can have about ideas that I bring up, because I just like it that we're a little community, and we're all aiming for the same thing. So yeah, hope you like that. And I've gone to almost 27 minutes, so I'm going to stop now. And yeah, have a lovely day. Bye.